look, we keep saying it's a week by week proposition for us. We're going to get ready for this game in the same way we have the last couple, and hopefully we can take steps in the right direction. Certainly defensively last week, despite the conditions, there's no getting away from the fact that the conditions play a part in attack and in some instances make it slightly easier to defend. Probably in others not. Retrieving kicks through your line on early plays, that's always a bigger challenge in conditions like that. And I thought it were an area, Ash Hanley in particular did some marvellous work in terms of anticipation and basically beating them to the punch on some of the kick plays. And for us to be able to soak up 6 or 7 goal line dropouts, were a rewarding part of our game last week. But yeah, big challenge and bigger challenge again. I think looking at Wigan, they won by a point last week, and they've had 2 really narrow defeats to Warrington. Where when you're looking over the 80 minutes, probably only a couple of pieces of class individual play separated those 2 games. I think they're a tough team, and when you look at them personnel wise, and the tightness of the competition, I still look at Wigan and think if they can get a run of wins together, they are a team from experience, personnel, toughness that can still challenge. Such is the tightness of the middle of the table at the moment, and even down to the sort of bottom 3 teams. I think we all understand what a couple of wins and a couple of losses can significantly change your position on the table. However, I'll go back to us, and it's all about this week and making sure that we tick all the boxes in our preparation, and we get the same sort of attitude and commitment and desire about our performance on Friday night. Well, home always should be an advantage, and playing in front of our own fans, if ever that, a time that can give you a boost, it's going to be over these next 12 weeks. So, I think that's something that when you look at the season on the bigger picture, the team had a tough start. It had some really tough fixtures straight off the bat. Playing under new systems, I think very early on, Wigan, Saints, Warrington all away. Yeah, that's a challenging start. I think they were 3 of the first 4 or 5 rounds. That's a challenging start for everyone. So hopefully, we keep saying there's a lot of time left in the season. I think we saw looking at Saints in London. Everybody had been predicting a Saints win, but there'll be plenty of twists and turns over those next 12 weeks. If we've got the added bonus of playing our games at Headingley, then it's up to us to make sure we make the absolute most advantage we can of that.
Rich, when you reflected on last week's win at Wakefield, has it been an even better performance than you thought maybe on the night? Looking at the stats there, made more metres than Wakefield, more clean breaks than the Rhinos, forced them into more missed tackles. It was a strong performance. Yeah,
well, I know Chris were a bit disappointed, felt that we didn't throw anything at Wakefield, but I would suggest on that field position, some penalties out of yardage, the way they kicked the ball, they kicked the ball terrifically well. I thought they threw a fair bit of it and for long periods did dominate that field position. So, twofold for us were our defence, certainly our commitment to each other. But on reflection, when you do look at the stats, it went 9 line breaks to 6. You've got to convert those line breaks. They don't turn into 4 points or 6 points. We did make them miss tackles. We just, unfortunately for us, probably didn't see quite enough of it as we would have wanted to in the second half, and got the ball in tough positions. And I did feel that because we did so much defending, I did think that energy at times blunted our attack, and I thought we got slightly within our shells. And probably a little bit conservative in the last 20 minutes of the game. But again, field position and energy dictated that. But I did think all round it was certainly an improvement on the week before, which is what we're looking for. Defensive effort, certainly effort, 10 out of 10. There were some little technical bits in there that we need to be better going forward. But the technical bits, if you like, can always get covered up by effort, and if there's a determination to work for each other and show that kind of digging in spirit that we showed, then some of your little frailties can get covered up at times. But no, I think we give ourselves plenty to build on.
Have you noticed there's been a cloud lifted with the back-to-back wins? Does it give the lads a bit of a spring in their step?
I think it was noticeable last week among the team that I thought they felt a real buzz about playing, and I thought it was great as a team to think, we can go out and defend our way to a victory, and I think that should give them a lot of confidence about those effort areas, and knowing if we get our D right, then you can wear not perfect all at times, and being able to kick the ball effectively well. We've still got improvements in that area too, but it's noticeable. I think they recognise the areas which they improve, and if they can keep doing that, then hopefully it should lead to more consistent performances. So spirit and enthusiasm, certainly over the last couple of weeks, after a couple of poor results, damaging defeats, if you like. I will credit the players. I said 2 or 3 weeks ago, the players do care. If anybody out there think they're not working hard and they don't care, they do care, and they're determined to, I guess, continue in that sort of vein.
A number of the young players have gone out on loan deals to get some game time under the belt. You obviously feel that's an important part of their progress. Yeah,
we do. I think in the academy competition, we see our performance again. Warrington were exceptionally good. I think it was 50-0, 52-0, something like that. We got beat at Wigan last week, and some of those big games and those challenges, if you like, probably don't come around too frequently enough. And when we've got top end academy age players at 19, and people like Trouty and Muzzy, the physical demands of the academy, they've just gone beyond that a little bit. To get tested maybe once a month. Sometimes not even that, and at times to be so physically dominant in the under-19s, it's probably they need a bigger and better challenge from a physical perspective. We like the fact that going and playing, whether it be Championship or Championship 1, there's a lot more at stake than playing in an academy which is a development league. While we want to win, and it'd be lovely to win the Academy Championship, development is really what it's all about. So for them guys to go get a better physical challenge, where the stakes are higher, the accountability is probably a little bit more. It's easy to see some of our more dominant players in the academy. They can have a play-off and they can have a set-off, and you can't do that as much when you're playing senior football. So, we see it as a integral part of the development rather than at times coasting through, fairly large victories playing academy and waiting for that one game that might come every 4 to 5 weeks. That's absolutely not not critical of the academy. We understand that it's far more challenging for some clubs to produce strong academies just because of the numbers game really, and where the sport is played and how many quality kids can be attracted to any one academy. So we're up for getting them out there and playing first grade, and getting a little bit of a different mentality about playing among the men really.
One of those younger ones who's getting experience, Corey Johnson's had some time at Featherstone on Joel Reggie's. Really relishing that step up.
Yeah, it did. Obviously, the 1895 Cup come around, and that means an extra game midweek. We spoke to Featherstone a while ago that would be a great opportunity to get again some of our younger end, but still first grade academy players some experience. We saw Jack Broadbent go there in the Challenge Cup, when obviously dual reg becomes a little bit more difficult, and we were keen to see Corey Johnson play, and they were keen to have a look at Corey. Look, we've got, I think internally it's fair to say, we've got pretty big raps on Corey Johnson, what he's like as a kid. He's got a massive engine, he's got a real strong desire to win and compete, and he's a very, very good footballer to that too. He's a halfback as a junior that's been converted to a hooker, so he really possesses a lot of skills to play dummy half. We think he's got a big future, and to go and join Featherstone and play as well as he did at Widnes, I thought should get us all really excited about if we can steer him on the right path development wise, what the future will bring for him in a Leeds shirt.
Just finally, Tulula has been included in the Tongan squad. Obviously, that will mean he'll miss the St Helens game, but as a club, Leeds have always been very supportive of the international game. Yeah,
I think as a domestic game, we've got to support the international game. It should be the pinnacle of the sport. Obviously, Tonga's emergence has been hugely impressive and had a massive impact at senior level. And I think while you know, it's a long trip, a round trip. I think it's one that for Tui, personally, he has a lot of pride in his heritage and respect and representing Tonga. And I think for us, it's important that, you know, as an organisation, we support international football.